What is the role of design and technology in our society? Is it simply to make cozy and beautiful environments? Or is it here, or can we use it to ask critical questions? I believe design is not to just solve problems, but to ask provocative questions and challenge dominant outlooks. Not to just build futures, but to reimagine it in different ways. In Critical Matter Group at the MIT Media Lab, we work across the design scales, from the intimate scales and the world of fashions and wearables, to architecture, and then today to public art installations. We envision a future for design which goes beyond the mere application of technology, to use technology in a more meaningful and transformative ways, to spark imaginations, enhance perceptions, augment social interaction, and hopefully to empower voices that have not been heard. I've been really fascinated by the notion of the gaze for a few years now, from cognitive and neuroscience, as well as critical feminist perspective. What happens when we return the gaze? What does it mean to be observed and to observe? What if you could feel someone gaze on your body? Caress of the Gaze is 3D printed cape equipped with gaze tracking and smart materials that responds to the onlooker's gaze. I would say it's not only a piece of technological innovation, but it actually addresses a larger social gender issues, such as the male gaze on the female body. So if you're the wearer, you know which part of your body is being looked at. If you're the onlooker, you know that your action is being noticed. So it changes the social interaction. What if eyes become a vehicle for communication? In my research, I came across a very interesting incident in which American officer, Admiral Jeremiah Denton, used blinking to send secret messages. He blinked the word torture during his captivity in Vietnam using the Morse code, and that was very inspiring. What if AI and design could help us to empower voices that have not been heard? Inspired by intriguing historical masks worn by Bandari women from southern part of Iran, these robotic masks are equipped with machine learning algorithm. They communicate with one another, send and receive secret messages using AI-generated Morse code. The aim is to sow anxiety within the patriarchal structures and hopefully to give voice to this marginalized community. Let's talk about fashion. Fashion is an important medium for production of culture. Yet we all know that fashion industry has been complicit in the female objectification and sexual harassment. Females' bodies are regularly objectified within the fashion industry. But what if we could subvert this through the power of their gaze? Returning the Gaze is the name of this robotic installation during the Milan Fashion Week on the runway show, where the gaze of the model returned back through 4 robotic arms back to the observers. The aim is to make the observers feel uncanny by being observed through these 4 robotic arms. A few years ago, I've learned about the tragic stories of protesters who got blinded permanently as they shot in the eye by the military forces using rubber bullets. And soon I realized that this story has happened all around the world, in India, in Chile, in Iran, in US, in Hong Kong. Despite the fact that many of these protesters, they were often peaceful, their non-violence means of political expression was perceived as violence. So I've decided to make an immersive installation and use the victim's eyes and words to address the importance of political expressions and holding the figures and authorities accountable for their violent action. if our public buildings could share our dreams and fears? And here, I'm really excited to share our latest projects, Gaze to the Stars. When you enter to this sensory pod, you take a seat. You place your head against a piece, and you look inside an infinity room. You will be given 4 themes for the conversations: longing, dreaming, struggling, and feeling. First, you hear some stories. Then you will have conversation with AI. It asks you, what do you dream of becoming? Or what are you longing for? As you answer, the AI asks you a follow-up question to better understand the story behind what you shared. We collect the transcriptions of your conversations, and we summarize that to 10 words. We encode that message inside your iris. During March 12, 13, 14, we turned the MIT Dome to a storytelling vehicle, sharing the stories of 200 eyes. The stories which are not only about shiny stories of success, but also hold the space for failures, loss, grief, pain. As people walk through the city, they spot these giant eyes. They might get curious. If they go to the project's website, they can decode the hidden message behind every gaze. Kind of like finding the meaning behind the constellations at the night sky. Perhaps we could make a comparison between the experience of this sensory machine to the confessional, where Catholics confess to their sins to the priest that is hidden behind the screen. Or perhaps a psychoanalysis couch, where patients reveal their most inner desires. So the design of this sensory pod invites participants to share their aspirations and fear using AI. We wonder, though, what does it mean to trust? To trust AI and trust machine to share the most vulnerable aspects of our lives. Could design and AI help us to have a better understanding of our inner life, to help us to reflect, to grow, to make us to be more aware? And beyond the self, could it help us to foster empathy on the global scale, especially in this political climate? So this project helped us to reflect on many issues related to ethics, to trust, to emotional expressions using AI. You might wonder, why does critical matter matter? Conventionally, most material research has been informed by the latest advances in science, engineering, and technology. Many times, it was obsessed about the question of efficiency. And a lot of time, this process was disconnected to social sciences and humanities. At the Critical Matter Research Group, we are excited to bring these 2 worlds together, to produce work that is based on latest scientific research, but also grounded and create a meaningful social impact. So I'm excited for exploring how we can use design and technology to address larger social, cultural, and political issues of our time, not to conform, but to ask, to empower, and to reimagine a more just future. Thank you very much.